So, there's been some news to come out from Dynamite talking about one of their characters, and that is Red Sonja. Yeah, there's been a Red Sonja movie in development hell for years, but I guess it's finally picking up speed, and Dynamite couldn't wait to talk about it. Like, they were like, oh my god, guys, it's... Like, I saw it all over their multiple fan pages and their official sites. Dynamite was so eager to talk about having a Red Sonja movie finally happen. And granted, the only announcement so far is we don't have a director, we don't have any cast, we just have a writer. We just have a writer for the film, which is, I'm forgetting her name, but it was Ashley, I forget her name, but she has done writing for Thor, she's done writing for X-Men First Class, and a few other films, namely a few other films from Bryan Singer. So... well, I know Thor and X-Men First Class aren't Bryan Singer films, but she did films mostly with Bryan Singer, as far as I know. That's the extent of my knowledge. But yeah, like I said, dude, Dynamite was so excited to do talk about anything with Red Sonja. Like, oh my god, guys, we finally got a writer. This thing's actually happening. Which I don't blame them. I mean, the last Red Sonja movie wasn't excellent. But yeah, now, a couple things I will say about Red Sonja is that, I've read some comics, and it's not that I'm not a fan, it's just that it's kind of like with Conan the Barbarian, there's such a great, like, deep myth to it, it's like, it kind of gets intimidating. And I'm not saying reboot the comics or anything, but, what was I gonna say? There is like a major fan base for it. In fact, the only real Red Sonja comic I really own is a crossover with Spider-Man, and it's the Marvel Dynamite crossover, and it's actually really good. But it's the funny thing, and I've talked about this before, is that in the Spider-Man Red Sonja crossover, it happened during when One More Day was going on. But it is such a great comic that makes you go, I don't want One More Day. It's a weird thing because it's such in its own continuity. That's what I really like, is that it's very much in its own continuity, and keep in mind, yeah, One More Day was going on, so it made you go, oh, one last hurrah. God damn it, Joe Quesada. Anyway, so, that's really it's not that I haven't tried looking for Red Sonja comics, it's just that it's kind of intimidating to kind of get into it, because there is so much lore to that character, and so many other major things that happen with her, I'm just kind of like, I don't know where to start, but maybe when the movie gets closer, I'll read more. Anyway, so, I will say that the major thing you have to look for in a Red Sonja movie is that, Sonja has to be, I will say that, you know, there was talk, actually, before I go any further, there was actually talk, in the early 2000s of a Red Sonja movie happening, and Rose McGowan was actually, like, training herself to get the role, because she had been apparently cast for it, but I guess it fell into development hell. Incidentally, she was actually in the remake of the Jason Momoa Conan the Barbarian movie, so, incidentally, we've had some fantasy stuff with her before. Most of you guys would probably know her best from the film Planet Terror, though. I still think Rose McGowan could actually play a really good Red Sonja, but, yeah. But, like I was going back to, Rose was in an interview, McGowan was in an interview, and you could clearly see she had bulked up, and she talked about, yeah, I'm going to be training for horseback soon, as well as archery and swordsman. So yeah, she was very much into the role, so there's no reason I don't think she could do it now. And like I said, it's kind of funny that we're talking about this when only a few short years ago, we had, the Jason Momoa Conan the Barbarian movie, which wasn't that good. Gotta be honest, I was like 5 minutes into the movie and I was like, ditch! But anyway, but the main thing, and you're probably wondering, well, what would you rate this movie, Zilla? If you could actually rate a Red Sonja movie, what would it be? R. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, you're just saying that an R rating so you could see Red Sonja's boobs. No. Yes, sex appeal is part of Red Sonja, that's kind of the character thing. But there's more to it, is that Red Sonja is more than just her armor. She's this badass, bloodthirsty female barbarian who butchers anyone. And there's kind of a point to her chainmail bikini in a sense, in that she entices her enemies and distracts. I remember, actually, I've read a comic where she talks about this, where she's like, yeah, I wear this so it's more of a distraction. Also, it's enchanted. And the only way you're going to get this off of me is if you beat me in a fight. And so far, the only person who's ever beaten her in a fight was Wolverine in a What If comic. So it technically wasn't canon. Anyway. So anyway, the main thing is that this would have to be this would have to be an R-rated film, because, yeah, you need that blood and gore. And if we're being honest here, people, I could really use some R-rated fantasy. And I know what you're thinking. What about Game of Thrones? I meant in film. I honestly meant in film. I could go for a bloody fantasy film. I could go for a bloody fantasy film right about now. But I have this feeling, no, they're just going to make it PG-13 so they can get more people in the seats. But I want them to take a chance with Red Sonja and make it an R rating. Because, you know, I feel like the Deadpool film, and I've talked about this before, is that, yes, I'm well aware that there have been other superhero films, but none of them were as successful as Deadpool was. The closest one being was like Blade and Blade 2. Those are the two big ones. And Watchmen. But like I said, Deadpool was the one who really kicked open the door for all these possibilities of R-rated superhero films and kind of that kind of mindset with these kind of action films. So I could go... Yeah, honestly, I'm not saying make it like Deadpool. You don't need that. What I'm saying is, Deadpool has, like I said, kicked open the door to allow Hollywood to go, hey, maybe not all comic book films need to be PG-13, and we can still make a profit off of it. So, yeah, and again, Red Sonja kind of needs to be R, because if you've ever read especially from Dynamite, and I believe she was also in Dark Horse for a short time, those comics are fucking bloody. Like, seriously, the blood is kind of dripping off the pages. It's the same thing with Conan and with Dark Horse, which is now going back to Marvel. So there's that. But yeah, I'm very interested in this. Hopefully, if you were to ask me who would I get to direct this, I don't know, who would really be good on doing, a good fantasy bloody film. I wouldn't say, like Guillermo del Toro or anything like that, because I feel like they've got other things in mind. So, Robert Rodriguez would actually be kind of an interesting pick. He's really good of doing kind of gore and having, a good story behind it, but mainly focusing action through story. So, if they really wanted to go ballsy, I would say, yeah, Robert Rodriguez would kind of be, and it would be like a fantasy grindhouse film. That'd be kind of kick-ass. But again, I really suck at making films, as you can obviously tell. So, there you go. Maybe they can get Rose McGowan for Red Sonja, I don't know. But anyway, so that's really all I had to say about this, guys. So, I'm really curious to see what you guys have to say. What do you guys think of a Red Sonja movie coming out soon? Are you guys excited? Are you guys not? And who would you have direct the film? Who would you want as the director of the film? And who would you want to have star in it? Who would you want as Red Sonja? And what characters, if you really are major into Red Sonja mythos, because I'm still a novice at that, who would you want as certain characters and villains? Just comment below, let me know, and once again, hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you guys later.